Well, things are relatively calm right now, let me say, but the situation here is very complicated these days. It's pretty much similar to how things were before the last war in Gaza started last May. I mean, protesters are gathering alongside the border fence between Gaza and Israeli settlements. They continue to launch incendiary balloons and explosive devices, trying to put pressure on the Israeli authorities to ease the restrictions on Gaza. The talks in Egypt are still going on. Obviously, none of the two parties, neither Hamas in Gaza or Israel, has an actual appetite for a new round of confrontation, but the tension is still escalating. Palestinians here say they will continue with these protests alongside the borders, but they are, however, trying to keep it peaceful as much as possible. And this is what happened last Wednesday. However, the Saturday that was before that last week, there had been more than 42 injuries among Palestinian protesters. Israeli troops actually fired live ammunition towards the Palestinian protesters, injuring these 42. One of them actually died. A 12-year-old boy died of the injuries he sustained at the time yesterday. So the Palestinian factions here are still making threats to the Israelis, saying that if Israel does not abide by the terms and conditions they agreed upon on the last ceasefire agreement, which followed the last war in Gaza in May, then things could escalate, leading to a new round of confrontation, even though they do not have an actual appetite for. But if it was forced upon them, then they might have to actually go on with it.
Killed last week by Israeli forces used live bullets and tear gas to disperse protesters. The protest comes after a Palestinian child was shot and killed last week by Israeli forces. 12-year-old Omar Hassan was shot during protests in Gaza last Saturday. Meanwhile, Israel said it carried out airstrikes against Hamas targets in Gaza. Israeli military officials say a compound and tunnel were destroyed and that the attacks were in response to the launching of arson balloons towards Israeli territory.
فتح المجال للصحفيين حتى نوفق